Coming up on 5 Alive News at noon, a plane crash in Japan may be the worst single aircraft disaster in aviation history. 4 Oklahomans are recovering from injuries received in a Denver plane crash. And testimony gets underway on a proposed OG&E rate increase. Details on the news at noon. Coming up next from 5.
Channel 5, KOCO TV, Oklahoma City.
This is 5 Alive News.
Hello, I'm Ron Stahl. 524 people are now feared dead in the crash of a Japan airline. 3 Oklahoma men remain hospitalized in Denver, Colorado at this hour following the crash of an airplane there Saturday night. Kenneth Jack of Oklahoma City and Ronnie Hodges of Childress are in fair condition. James McLean of Wellston remains in serious condition. A 4th man, Randall Mashburn of Chandler, reportedly escaped injury. The accident may have been caused by wake turbulence. There's another death in the crash of Delta Flight 191 at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. A Florida man died last night of injuries received when that L-1011 went down August 2nd. Meanwhile, the focus of the investigation into the crash is now on weather conditions and how the mayor of Institute, West Virginia, says Union Carbide officials failed to give adequate warning of a chemical leak at its plant there. More than 130 people were injured when a gasket broke yesterday, spilling pesticide fumes into the air. None of the injuries was serious, mostly eye irritation and nausea. The pesticide released is not fatal to humans. Continues in South Africa today, and black leaders are calling for a nationwide boycott to push the minority white government to abandon its apartheid policies. Yesterday, a black policeman was stoned and his body burned by a crowd leaving a funeral for one victim of the rioting that has rocked that country. The boycott, meanwhile, is said to be spreading into South Africa's industrial cities. More than 1,000 students are staying out of. Here in Oklahoma City, police are trying to catch a cat burglar. Crime Stoppers is offering up to $1,000 for information, as we learn from Detective Ken Smith.
Over the past several months, a number of burglaries have occurred in the far northwest part of Oklahoma City, between May Avenue and Rockwell, Britton, and Memorial Road. These thieves have entered the residence while the homeowners were asleep. Generally, the burglars enter the residence through unlocked doors or windows, and entry has been made with a minimal amount of noise. These crimes have been committed usually between midnight and 6 a.m. The items taken mostly consist of jewelry and cash. In most cases, the items were removed from the bedroom while the residents were asleep. Some of the victims have confronted the suspect, and he was described as a black male in a jogging-type suit.
In the last 5 days, the Crime Stoppers program has solved 1 homicide and 20 armed robberies. So if you have any information about the burglary scene that you just saw, please contact Crime Stoppers at 235-7300. All callers will remain anonymous, and you can earn up to a $1,000 reward. For Crime Stoppers, thank you very much. I'm Detective Sugar Smith.
Relatives and friends mourn will live eternally. In other news, the longest surviving artificial heart recipient is now out of the hospital in his own apartment. William Schrader moved over the weekend. That apartment is near Louisville's. Another recovering patient had to abandon his traditional wood chopping over the weekend. President and Mrs. Reagan went to their ranch near Santa Barbara, California for a little rest. A government report shows Americans have become more aware of the hazards when they play. Therefore, they aren't getting hurt as much. Emergency room treatment of injuries associated with bicycles. When we come back, the local electric company wants more of your money. The groups contributing are trying to protect their tax breaks from President Reagan's tax overhaul plan. And the stock market continues on a skittish slide this week. At noon, losers lead 7-4, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down over 7.25 points in live trading. At the local gas pump is where you can expect to get your money's worth, at least for a little while. An oil industry analyst says increased oil production in the Mideast and OPEC price cuts are the causes for lower pump prices. Analyst Dan Lundberg says the average price for all grades of gasoline has dropped by ½ cent over the last 2 weeks. And here's a bit of information that should thrill shoppers of all ages. St. Louis now has what's being billed as the country's largest enclosed shopping mall. The St. Louis Center will eventually contain 150 stores and restaurants. Now, the opening ceremony was marked by the release of 400 homing pigeons and 30,000 balloons. 25,000 spectators were there. $176 million to build as the developers' hopes up for pulling business back into the downtown St. Louis shopping area. On the farm, there's some good news for both soybean producers and grain. Brent Franks has a hot and windy weather picture, plus the latest in seagoing innovations after this.
Should I tell folks my award-winning barbecue sauce is really crap, thick and spicy?
Powering a boat with the wind is nothing new. We all know about sailboats, but the boat invented by students at Scotland's Glasgow University takes it a step further. Now, this craft is actually pushed along by an electric motor, but the electricity is made by a windmill. And what happens, Brent, now when it becomes becalmed, as sailors say? Well, when there's no wind, a set of batteries takes over.
That sucker would be blowing and going today in Oklahoma, I'll tell you what.
It would be generating a lot of power.
Yes, it would. It'd probably power the whole city of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but it couldn't handle the lights in this studio.
Or the heat in this studio either.
Pretty bright, isn't it?
Hey, you have a good weekend?
I had a wonderful weekend. The weather was great. Went to a big picnic for the Norman High class of 75.
How was the Norman High class of 75?
They throw a great party. I had a great picnic in Andrews Park Saturday. The weather was beautiful, and we appreciate it.
Hey, well, you're welcome. All the rain this weekend seemed to stay up in the northern counties. Right now, we have a little rain going on in those same northern counties. We'll take a look at that in a second. Let's check Oklahoma City's current conditions. Nice and warm under sunny skies, 91 degrees. Let's check out that wind flow Ron and I were talking about. Look at that, southwesterly at 22 miles an hour. Humidity's down around a third of a range, and the barometric pressure is steady. Morning low this morning in the metro area was 72 degrees, and we didn't have any rainfall overnight in Oklahoma City. And I think that rainfall, you look at it closely, goes 0.00 instead of the way it is right now. Let's go into the lows this morning. Currently, the temperatures this morning look like this. It was 79 degrees in Ponca City, 81 degrees down in Lawton, and 75 in Gage. That same temperature reported in Bartlesville. At this hour, temperatures are warming up dramatically, all the way up from the upper 80s to the lower 90s, and it's going to touch the century mark in more than one location this day in Oklahoma City. Currently 88 degrees in Tulsa, 87 in McAllister, and let's go all the way down to Altus. 92 degrees in Altus. A little less moisture in the western counties, so the heat's going to rise on up above the 103 degree to 4 or 5 degree reading in the southwest today. Extremely hot. Let's take a look at those sunny skies that providing those nice warm temperatures. Sunny skies with one exception down in northern or southern LaFleur County. And look at this, a little bit of moisture across our northwestern quarter. That's preceding a cold front that's stalling out and not going to move into us to provide us with any relief, but it is kicking off a little bit of rain activity. As we look at 5 Alive radar, we can see there is just a wee bit of moisture right now across our northern borders, just north of that's Alfalfa County and this crossover into Kansas. Just a light wee bit of showers that's going to be dying out, popping up and dying out throughout the rest of the day. Back in the satellite picture, we can take a look and see where that cold front is located. Connects up with the area of low pressure in the Dakotas. Nasty weather overnight in the Dakotas throughout Minnesota. They can look for some thunderstorm activity all throughout this general vicinity. They have winds gusting in excess 30-40 miles an hour. Our winds today generally out of the southerly to southwesterly flow. Winds gusting in the 20-mile-an-hour range along throughout the whole state of Oklahoma. This front's going to stay here, so we're not going to have any change in wind flow. It's going to be extremely, extremely hot. As far as precipitation at this hour, besides what we looked at on 5 Alive radar, we see a nice little blotch of moisture across the northern states, a little bit across Idaho Panhandle, and a little bit still across the Gulf Coast states. Louisiana got a little bit in New Orleans. It picked up about 3 inches of rainfall yesterday. They're drying out a little bit. A little bit of rainfall will fall on southern Florida tomorrow. You can see the cold front will not pull into Oklahoma tomorrow, but it will kind of sit across our northern border and just straddle the Kansas-Oklahoma line. It'll take a little more impetus and move across into the Ohio Valley. They'll have a little thunderstorm activity up there. We can also have a little brief shower or two across our northern tier. Generally fair to partly cloudy skies tonight. Temperatures in the middle to upper 70s. Tomorrow, another warm day. A little bit more cloud cover all across the state. Temperatures should stay under the 100-degree mark. Just a slight chance of showers throughout Oklahoma tomorrow. This day, what can we expect in the city? Nothing more than a high temperature of 100 degrees and the winds, a nice strong southerly flow. As we take a look at the forecast, we can see that there are going to be nice and sunny, high temperature of 100 degrees, winds out of the south 15 to 20. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 74. The wind's calming down just a little bit. And Ron Stahl, what's in store for tomorrow? Nothing more than partly cloudy skies and that good old cardinal in the background there. I love that bird. Okay, into Tuesday night, cooling down to a low of 73. And as we look at our extended forecast, Ron, we can see Wednesday partly cloudy, Thursday rather, partly sunny skies as well on Friday. Temperatures about normal for this time of the year in the mid to lower 90s.
That cardinal was in my backyard last night.
Was it? I wish you'd catch that thing. I'm tired of seeing it.
No, I like it.
You like it? It's a nice shot.
That's right. We're going to transplant it to my house. It does come there every evening. I water the lawn, and it sits up there in the tree and takes a little bath.
That's nice.
That is. Keeps it off the screen.
That's right. That's right. Wayne never sees it.
Okay. Well, there's a new old champion at the PGA Championship. The explanation in today's Sports Minute.
1977 U.S. Open winner Hubert Green beat out defending champion Lee Trevino to capture golf's fourth major tournament of the year, the PGA, yesterday in Denver. Green holed his chip for a birdie on the seventh hole, then waited for Trevino's putting to give way, which it did on the par 3 15th. The two-time PGA champ missed his putt for par from point-blank range, and Green had the lead for good. Green finished 2 shots ahead of Trevino and 3 in front of Andy Bean and T.M. Chen. In tennis, number 1 met number 2 in the finals of the Volvo International Tournament, and the world's top-ranked player, John McEnroe, was an easy winner. He beat Ivan Lendl 7-6, 6-2 to win the singles crown. In baseball yesterday, the New York Yankees won their 6th in a row with a 5-3 victory over the Boston Red Sox. Ron Guidry became the American League's first 15-game winner. Dick Pryor, 5 Alive, Sports Minute.
And in our next segment, getting tickets for the boss. It's a tiring proposition. For it. Well, you never tell. Angry parrots appear to have won a round with the record companies. The Recording Industry Association of 18th century furniture is collected around Europe. Now, he's one of France's wittiest designers, and it's no surprise.
The woman at home and La Femme Lumière with all those lights. And then there's also a Texan group, Paris, Texas. You know, there was this movie called Paris, Texas. Huh? And I used the pattern in the embroidery of Texan boots, and I made evening dresses out of that.
Or Oklahoman boots if you wear them here. Now, some things aren't strictly modeled after furniture or boots. Lagerfeld has produced some beautiful day wear with large oversized jackets and bright colors, and that's Fall 85 from Karl Lagerfeld. When we come back, it isn't exactly Ben-Hur. Finally today, there will be a chariot race tonight at the Stevens County Fair in Hugoton, Kansas, but no horses. Instead of horses, those chariots will be pulled by ostriches. But don't laugh. Now, there are no signs of survivors. 524 people were aboard when that plane went down this morning. Now let's go to the newsroom and 5 Alive's Terry Watkins to see what the top stories are for 5 and 6 o'clock. Terry?
Well, Ron, coming up, we'll have the latest on the efforts to piece together exactly what caused the crash of the A7 last Thursday in Midwest City. And we'll look on cover story at a very historic South Oklahoma City restaurant, the Cattleman's Cafe.
Okay, we'll look at that and enjoy it. Relative humidity is only about 36% today. That's drier than usual, which means it's a little safer to exercise outside and do yard work this week. Otherwise, it's hot and windy out there today, so take it easy. We'll see you again tomorrow. Currently, Oklahoma City's under sunny skies. Temperature's 91 degrees. High temperature today expected to be 100, so don't take it too lightly. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This has been a presentation of 5 Alive News, recognized as the leader in Oklahoma broadcast journalism.